Mr. Bilal, for this rational and insightful presentation. There are several questions in the chat, and there are many comments that are related to your study. Mr. Mustafa is, or Mr. Hassan Lutfi hopes to read your study about Zagora. I think it will be. Good evening, esteemed guest, Professor Belal Amedyaz. Welcome to your house, the International House of Bitlisaniyat. We are happy to host you again. Respected researchers, professors, and colleagues, welcome to this enlightening lecture titled Teaching English Content Through the Children Instruction Observation Protocol Model in a Self-Regulated Setting. We are honored to have you join us today for this pivotal discussion, which explores innovative pedagogical approaches to English language instruction, a topic of great relevance in our increasingly interconnected world. In the Moroccan context, there is a generalization of teaching English for middle school, and students now can study English at 7th grade and 8th grade. So language is the road map of culture. It tells you where its people come from and where they are going. So we are privileged to host Professor Belal from Hassan II University in Mohammedia, a researcher whose expertise in applied linguistics and language should shed light on the transformative potential of the sheltered instruction observation protocol model in self-regulated learning environments. His insights will undoubtedly enrich our understanding of effective strategies for teaching English in diverse educational contexts. I would like to extend my deepest gratitude to Dr. Marwan Sakran, Dr. Safiya Kassas, Dr. Abdelkader Mtwati, and Professor Yassin Jamal Idrisi for facilitating the organization of such scientific events. Free attendance certificates will be delivered to all participants. I encourage you to engage actively in the discussion. You can write your questions on the live chat. Please feel free to share your comments there. Let us explore how the sheltered instruction observation protocol model can change English language teaching in self-regulated settings, empowering both teachers and learners alike. Thank you, and let the lecture begin. The floor is yours, Mr. Belal.
Thank you so much. Good evening, Mr. Hmad. Thank you so much for your efforts in bridging knowledge between researchers and specialists, especially in applied linguistics. Special thanks are addressed to Bitlisaniyat for opening the door for us to share the knowledge that we get from our research. Today's lecture will be on teaching English content through the SIOP model in a self-regulated setting. And first of all, I have to mention that SIOP is an acronym which stands for Sheltered Instruction Observation Protocol. And this protocol is specially designed for teaching content. It began in the United States of America, starting from 1994 by the pioneer Maria Echevarria, by Miss Echevarria, which designed this protocol or model to teach content, not just language. Whenever we are talking about teaching content, we mean that language is implicitly embodied in this protocol, and this model is designed for teaching content, English content, especially for for newcomers, especially immigrants who come to the United States of America without mastering, English. Now, the lecture is designed like as follows. I will start with an introduction, then I will give a definition for SIOP, and I will move to define self-regulated setting, and I will move to provide you with a historical background, and also I will focus on the 8 components of Sheltered Instruction Observation Protocol, and then I will move to the rationale for SIOP, and then to data description and findings, and I will end my lecture with a conclusion and provide researchers with references for further studies. Concerning the introduction, the SIOP model has greatly received focus and attention since its introduction to the educational research arena at the beginning of the 1990s. Practically, the SIOP model has proved effective in teaching content through English to other language speakers. The results were more than satisfying in several applications of the SIOP throughout the world. This lecture tries to add to the existing literature concerning the success of the SIOP model, as it tries to examine the relevance of the SIOP model in the Moroccan context, its application, its role in promoting self-regulation, and its implications for further study. More specifically, the present study aims at investigating the difference between the SIOP model and the mainstream one in terms of impact on students' self-regulation. Typically, the study starts with the hypothesis that students are more self-regulated in a SIOP-based classroom than in a mainstream-based one. Applied in the relevant setting, 2 SVT classrooms having the same number of boys and girls were taught the same number of hours about human reproduction. I will focus here on stating that this lecture is a fieldwork that I have done between 2017 and 2018 in Zagora region in a high school for my master degree, research or memoir. The findings show that students in the SIOP-based classroom are more self-regulated, independent, active, dynamic, and are spending this time to finish the tasks than students in the mainstream-based classroom. It is also important to indicate that there is a difference in terms of gender, whereby it is detected that girls did well more than boys in both classes, which are mainstream and SIOP classes. Now, I will move on to provide you with a definition of Children's Instruction Observation Protocol, which is a model for teaching grade level content in a way that is understandable for English learners, while at the same time promoting their English language development, as cited by Gutenberg and Fisher 2007. SIOP began as a way to observe and measure elements of effective children's instruction for English language learners. It involves into a framework for developing lesson plans and guiding instructional delivery. Children's instruction is a method that makes content knowledge more accessible to English language learners, while at the same time helping the students develop their English skills in reading, writing, speaking, and listening, as cited by Echevarria and Cox and Schott, which are the pioneers, of this protocol in 2008. The current model is composed of 30 features grouped into 8 main components. The 8 components, as outlined by Echevarria and colleagues, are as follows. The first one is preparation, and I will provide you later on with the definition of each of these 8 components relating to Children's Instruction Observation Protocol. The first one is preparation. The second one is building background, comprehensible input, strategies, interaction, practice, application, lesson delivery, review, and at the end, assessment. Since this lecture links between these two criteria, which are SIOP and self-regulation, I will move on now to provide you with a short definition of self-regulated learning. Self-regulated learning is recognized as an important predictor of student academic motivation and achievement. This process requires students to independently plan, monitor, and assess their learning. In fact, some students naturally do this well, whereas others need to be trained so as to self-regulate the learning process, which means there are some students which have this innate, competence to self-regulate their, process of learning, and there exist others which need the presence of teachers in order to master this, this approach of self-regulation. The first, researcher which is specialized in self-regulation is Zimmerman, and we have other studies of Cheng. Self-regulation is essential to the learning process, as stated by Zimmerman 2008. It can help students create better learning habits and strengthen their study skills, apply learning strategies to enhance academic outcomes, monitor their performance, and evaluate their academic progress. Teachers thus should be familiar with the factors that influence a learner's ability to self-regulate and the strategies they can use to identify and promote self-regulated learning in their classrooms. I will have to add here that in addition to self-regulation, we have another criterion, which is motivation. Motivation can have pivotal impact on students' academic outcomes, as stated always by Zimmerman 2008, without motivation, self-regulated learning is much more difficult to achieve. Besides, self-regulation or self-regulated learning is a process that assists students in managing their thoughts, behaviors, and emotions in order to successfully navigate their learning experiences. This process occurs when a student's purposeful actions and processes are directed towards the acquisition of information or skills. Research shows that self-regulated students are more engaged in their learning. These learners commonly employ strategies to make progress on the learning task, monitor the effectiveness of the strategies employed, monitor motivation for completing the learning task, evaluate performance on the learning task, manage emotional responses related to the outcomes of the learning experience, and analyze the learning task and set goals toward completing the task. Most importantly, self-regulated learners also manipulate their learning environments to meet their needs. For example, researchers have found that self-regulated learners are more likely to seek out advice and information and pursue positive learning climates. As cited by Laboon et al. In 2010, than their peers who display less self-regulation in the classroom. Due to their resourcefulness and engagement, it is not then surprising that findings from recent studies suggest that self-regulated learners also perform better on academic tests and measures of students' performance and achievement, as cited by Schenk, Zimmerman 2007, and by Zimmerman in 2008. In a study of high school students guided by Laboon et al. 2010, he found that learners who were taught self-regulated skills through monitoring and imitation were more likely to elicit higher levels of academic self-efficacy. And by self-efficacy here, I mean self-confidence or confidence, and perform higher on measures of academic achievement compared to students who did not receive self-regulated learning instruction. It seems as though self-regulated learning can make the difference between academic success and failure for many students, as stated by Harris and Rakowski and Otto in 2010. If students don't see value in learning tasks, then they are less likely to spend much time setting goals and planning strategies to accomplish their tasks. Additionally, research has found that self-efficacy and the use of self-regulation strategies have reflexive positive impacts on one another. Higher self-efficacy beliefs increase the use of self-regulation strategies, as stated by Harris in 2008, and the use of self-regulation strategies can lead to increases in self-efficacy beliefs and academic achievement, as stated by Zimmerman in 1990. Besides, when students are motivated to learn, they are more likely to invest the necessary time and energy needed to learn and apply appropriate self-regulated learning skills. And when students are able to successfully employ self-regulation strategies, they are often more, motivated to complete learning tasks, as cited by Zimmerman in 2000. Thus, teachers must teach students the self-regulated processes that facilitate learning. These processes often include goal setting, planning, self-motivation, attention control, flexible use of learning strategies, self-monitoring, appropriate help seeking, and self-evaluation. By goal setting, I mean the approach that can be, used. That can be used to self-monitoring appropriate. Yes, by goal setting. Yes, I mean the approach that can be thought of as the standards that regulate an individual's actions as set by Schenck in 2001. In the classroom, goals may be as simple as earning a good grade on an exam, or as detailed as gaining a broad understanding of a topic. Short-term attained goals often are used to reach long-term aspirations. For example, if a student sets a long-term goal to do well on an exam, then he or she also may set attainable goals, such as studying for a set amount of time and using specific study strategies to help ensure success on the exam. Research also suggests that encouraging students to set short-term goals for their learning can be an effective way to help students track their progress. Additionally, planning is similar to goal setting. Planning can be used to help students self-regulate their learning prior to engaging in self-tasks. In tasks, in fact, research indicates that planning and goal setting are complementary processes, as planning can help learners establish well thought out goals and strategies to be successful. Planning occurs in 3 stages. The first one, setting a goal for a learning task. The second one, establishing strategies for achieving the goal. And the last one is about determining how much time and resources will be needed to achieve the goal. Teaching students to approach academic tasks with a plan is a valuable method for promoting self-regulation and learning. Self-motivation occurs when a learner independently uses one or more strategies to keep themselves on track towards a learning goal. It is important to the process of self-regulation because it requires learners to assume control over their learning. Furthermore, self-motivation occurs in the absence of external rewards or incentives and can therefore be a strong indicator that a learner is becoming more autonomous. By establishing their own learning goals and finding motivation from within to make progress toward those goals, students are more likely to persist through difficult learning tasks and often find the learning process more gratifying. Attention control. In order to self-regulate, learners must be able to control their attention. On the other hand, attention control is a cognitive process that requires significant self-monitoring, as stated by Hansberger in 1995. Often this process entails clearing the mind of distracting thoughts, as well as seeking suitable environments that are interactive to learning. For example, quiet areas without substantial noise. Research indicates that students' academic outcomes increase with focused time spent on tasks. Thus, teaching students to attend to learning tasks should be a priority. Teachers can help their students control their attention by removing stimuli that may cause distractions and providing students with frequent breaks to help them build up their attention spans. Flexible use of strategies allows learners to implement multiple learning strategies across tasks and adjust those strategies as needed to facilitate their progress towards their desired goals. However, it is important to note that most students, especially those in the primary grades, typically don't have a large repertoire of learning strategies at their disposal. It takes time for students to learn and become comfortable with different learning strategies. By modeling how to use new strategies and providing appropriate amounts of scaffolding as students practice, teachers can help learners become independent strategy users. In the same vein, self-monitoring helps students to assume ownership for their learning and achievement outcomes. Self-regulated learners take on this responsibility by monitoring their progress towards learning goals. The process of self-monitoring encompasses all of the aforementioned strategies. In order for a learner to self-monitor their progress, they must set their own learning goals, plan independently, self-monitor their progress. They must set their own learning goals, plan independently, self-motivate themselves to meet their goals, focus their attention on the task at hand, and use learning strategies to facilitate the learning of materials. Teachers can encourage self-monitoring by having students keep a record of the number of times they worked on particular learning tasks, the strategies they used, and the amount of time they spent working. This practice allows students to visualize their progress and make change as needed. And now we shall move to provide you with a historical background relating to self-regulation. Self-regulated learning is historical background concerning SIOP. In order to more effectively and efficiently educate English learners, a variety of programs are currently being used across the United States of America classrooms. These programs vary in the amount of instruction taught in English versus native languages, but all the programs have the goals of helping students learn academic content and academic English, content and language. What follows in the study is a description of a sampling of existing programs aimed at more effectively educating learners. And the first program is two-way immersion, also called dual language or bilingual immersion, which includes extensive instruction in the native language. The two-way immersion model was originally developed in Canada in the 1960s to help students receive schooling through both French and English from kindergarten to 12, as stated by Ovanto, Collie, and Combs in 2003. A two-way immersion program begins in kindergarten and typically continues through 6th grade, but sometimes goes all the way to 12th grade. The goal of two-way immersion is to become fluent in both languages as well as learning academic content through both languages. The second program is named Developmental Bilingual Education. With another type of program is Developmental Bilingual Education, which is also referred to as late exit bilingual. The goal of this type of program is to promote bilingualism, having students reach high levels of academic achievement in all curricular areas and full academic language proficiency in the student's native language and English, as set by Tennessee in 1999. This program typically starts in elementary schools and continues through the 5th and the 2nd grades, depending on how long instruction can be provided in the student's native language as set by Vandu and comes in 2003. The third program is transitional bilingual education. This also referred to as early exit bilingual. This program is one of the most common form of bilingual education for English language learners in the United States. It was the main model for bilingual education in the United States of America during 1970s and 1980s. In this type of program, students are taught content area instruction in the native language until they learn enough English to transition into an English-only classroom, which means that students coming from other areas, other countries, and who are newcomers, in the United States of America, they don't know much about both English language and content. They benefit from these programs until they master, both English language and content, and then they go back to the mainstream, classrooms. Academic instruction is provided in the native language to keep English learners on grade level while they are learning English. Students also receive English instruction during the day to help acquire English. English. Students remain in these programs for about 2 to 3 years and then are exited out to 14, mainstream English-only classrooms. This is why transitional bilingual education is referred to as early exit, because students in this program exit out in a shorter amount of time than students in a developmental or two-way immersion programs. The fourth program, dealing with teaching English content is named newcomer programs. These programs are typically comprised of students who are new to the United States of America with limited to no English proficiency, low literacy, and or limited formal schooling. The goals of this type of program are to help students acquire basic English skills, provide some instruction in content areas, and acculturate students to the United States school system. Newcomer programs first started being used around 1990, and they are more often found in urban settings than suburban or rural, as cited by Short in 2002. Another characteristic of newcomer programs is their emphasis on family involvement, as cited by Short in 2002. Newcomer programs help not only the students in their programs, but also their families become more acclimated to the United States culture. The fifth program is named English as a Second Language, shortly ASL. One prominent type of monolingual program is English as a Second Language. Programs, which are also called English Language Developmental Programs. This type of program varies widely in how it is carried out. One type of English Second Language program is pull out. In pull out, the English learners students leave this mainstream classroom and head to an English as a Second Language teacher's classroom for English instruction. In elementary school, students are pulled out for 30 to 60 minute time blocks, while students are in their pull out in English as Second Language program. They miss the instruction that is going on in the mainstream classroom. In middle school and high school, students are pulled out for an entire class period. This class period often focuses entirely on English and don't help students with their academic content as stated by Diaz and Rico in 2008. The sixth program is named Cognitive Academic Language Learning Approach, whereas English as a second language program focuses more on helping English learners learn English. Other monolingual programs focus on helping English learners learn content and English language at the same time in a mainstream classroom. One model which is with this focus is called Cognitive Academic Language Learning Approach, which is a model based on cognitive learning theory and integrates intent area instruction with language development activities and explicit instruction in learning strategies, as stated by Rutenberg and Fisher in 2007. Cognitive Academic Language Learning Approach was developed in 1986 by Anna Chamou and G. Michael O'Malley. The model has three components. The first component is a content-based curriculum related to the mainstream program. The second component is English language development in academic areas. Reading and language arts are taught as part of content area subjects in Cognitive Academic Language Learning Approach. And the final component is direct instruction in the use of learning strategies. The final program which we will deal with today is sheltered instruction, a final method of instructing English learners in the context of a monolingual program is through sheltered instruction, which is sometimes also referred to as specially designed academic instruction in English. This program is implemented in some schools when there are multiple native languages spoken and providing instruction in the native language is not possible. One program that incorporates many aspects of sheltered instruction is called Sheltered Instruction Observation Protocol. And now we shall move to the 8 components of sheltered instruction observation protocol. In fact, we have 20 features, but they are, included in these 8 components of SIOP, which are, the first one is preparation. Preparation includes language and content objectives, which the teacher should clearly state while he or she is designing his, lesson plan. In addition to the use of supplementary materials and meaningfulness of activities, for example, in order to teach students content, teachers need to add, other materials, not just the whiteboard and flip charts, for example, but they have, for example, to use data shows, to use films, to use songs, in addition to many other materials which can help, students to be familiar, with the lesson and encourage, their attainment of English content. The second component is related to building background, which focuses on making connections with the student background, prior learning, and developing vocabulary. While designing, lesson plan for teachers should pay attention to this which means they have to take into account, the knowledge, the background knowledge of their students, and this can help them to, to design, their lesson plans and the lessons appropriately, depending upon the level of their students, both in English language and content. The third component is comprehensible input, which considers adjusting teacher speech. Teachers should play a role in, simplifying, in making things easy, in simplifying the language so as to be understood by their students, modeling academic tasks, and using multimodal techniques to enhance comprehension. The fourth component is about strategies, which emphasize on teaching learning strategies to students, scaffolding instruction, and promoting higher order thinking skills. By scaffolding, I mean the things or the techniques that a teacher can depend upon in order to make the knowledge of students, understood, and the techniques that can help him or her to deliver the lesson, in an appropriate way, in a way that is easy to be understood, by students. And the fifth component is about interaction, which encourages elaborated speech and student grouping for language and content development. The sixth component deals with practice or application, which extends language and content learning. The seventh component is about lesson delivery, which ensures teachers deliver instruction to meet planned objectives. And the last component is about review or assessment, which reviews key language content concepts, assesses student learning, and provides feedback on students' output. Now we shall move on to the rationale for SIOP, or why we use SIOP in order to teach English content. First of all, SIOP can be viewed as an umbrella under which other programs, as mentioned earlier, developed for improving instruction can reside. Secondly, the SIOP model is a framework that can bring together a school's instructional program by organizing methods and techniques and ensuring that effective practices are implemented and can be quantified. The third reason is about instruction, guided by the SIOP model attends to the distinct academic needs of students learning English, in addition to the fact that teachers using the instructional strategies embodied in the SIOP model help English learners to develop their academic English skills while learning grade level content. And the last reason deals with educators trained in the SIOP model learn to plan and deliver lessons that incorporate these strategies consistently and appropriately. Now let's move on to data description. it is of paramount importance to mention that these research results are built on a text on a human reproduction. This is a fieldwork, as I have mentioned earlier, which took place between 2017 and 2018 in a high school in the Gura region. The text is given to the second baccalaureate sciences of life and earth students in Omar bin Khattab High School in Zagora, Regional Directorate. The sample consists of the same number of male and female respondents aged between 17 and 18 years old, grouped into two groups. Each group consists of 5 males and 5 females. With the first group, I worked using the SIOP model or the SIOP method, while I worked with the second using the mainstream method, willing to investigate the difference between the SIOP model and the mainstream one in terms of their impact on self-regulated learners' achievements. I used a text entitled Introduction to Human Reproduction. The text is divided into 5 paragraphs accompanied by 7 activities, 7 pictures, and 2 videos. In the first activity, students were asked to match words like children, married human male, and married human female with their equivalents, give a definition to human reproduction, and write each of these expressions like sexual reproduction and asexual reproduction under the appropriate picture, which means that I have given pictures to those students, either in the SIOP model, classroom, or in the mainstream model 1. And I asked them to, to do these activities, like, giving definitions or, linking words with pictures. In the second activity, mainstream students were asked to go through the text, and the SIOP students to the indicated paragraphs to see whether the definitions to asexual and sexual reproduction were correct or not, then give a definition of about 2 lines to human reproduction. By this, I mean that I have provided, both mainstream and SIOP, classes with a text, but with SIOP, class, I have, highlighted, just some, paragraphs that they can depend upon in order to answer, their questions, while the choice, for the mainstream class is open. I didn't provide them with, directions, and I didn't, highlight, or fix some, paragraphs, which they can use in order to answer this, their questions. In the third activity, students of both methods were asked to write down the 3 stages of human reproduction after watching the video. I have provided, both the SIOP and the mainstream classes with the same video, and I asked them to write the 3 stages, of human reproduction. Concerning the fourth activity, SIOP and mainstream students were similarly asked to watch a video on human sexual organs and name 3 indicated parts of male sexual organs, then watch the video again, for the second time, and name 3 indicated parts of female sexual organs, and finally exchange sheets with their neighbors to see how many correct answers they have got. As far as the fifth activity is concerned, students were given 6 signs of puberty, 3 signs in boys and the same in girls, and were asked to decide the ones related to girls and the ones related to boys. And in the sixth activity, students were asked to fill the blanks appropriately by writing down 3 stages of reproduction, 3 types of reproduction, 3 types of female sexual organs, and 3 parts of female sexual organs. In the last activity, mainstream students were asked to write a summary about the importance of human reproduction, whereas SIOP students were asked to go through the text, delete unnecessary information, and underline the most important information. Then write a summary concerning the importance of human reproduction. Thus, students were not always asked close-ended, questions, but sometimes required to provide justifications and personal comments. After working on the text and answering the questions relating to the 7 activities, I provided students with sheets in which they took their answers, then go the following results depending upon the auspicious program. I am so sorry I cannot provide the charts and all the materials that I get from using the auspicious program here in this lecture. But if there exists, researchers who want, materials such this, I will by the end of this lecture, I will provide you with my Gmail, and you can contact me, and I will provide them with the whole, study later on, inshallah. Now we shall move on to findings. So findings relating to the use of SIOP, in self-regulated setting, are as follows. Concerning accepted answers, using the auspicious program, students start using the SIOP method, got 64.43% of the total accepted answers, with supremacy for females, about 23.88% for males, or for females over males who got only 30.55%. In turn, the rate of accepted answers achieved using the mainstream method did not exceed 21.66%, with 11.11% for males and 10.55% for females. This shows that the SIOP method works effectively not only in motivating students, but also in making them more creative. And the notion of creativity here is very important to mention that in a self-regulated setting, using the SIOP model for teaching, English content, students feel autonomous. They feel anxiety-free. The teacher acts just like a facilitator, which gives students this opportunity, to be more creative and to act, in an autonomous manner. Concerning unsolved problems, the number of unanswered questions, unsolved problems means, the number of unanswered, questions in all the activities, shows the effectiveness of the SIOP model over the mainstream one. The rate of unsolved problems within the given questions for students learning through the SIOP method did not exceed 10.55%, 6.11% for males, and 4.44% for females. On the other hand, the rate of failure in answering the given questions within mainstream students reached 21.66%, with 9.44% for males and 12.22% for females. Concerning self-independence and self-regulation, depending upon participant observation, peer observation, and video recordings, it is of paramount importance to say that I have used, recording throughout all my fieldwork, in that with those groups, which helped me later on, to make observation, of those recordings, and use those videos, as a data, as data collection, strategy. The SIOP method is proved to render students autonomous and able to control their learning, as well as finishing the given tasks without the need for the teacher's help, which means that students in a SIOP-based classroom, are becoming autonomous, self-monitoring, and, independent in their own, learning. The students learning in a SIOP-based setting seldom raise their hands to ask for the teacher's help, whereas students in the mainstream-based setting often depend upon the teacher in solving the tasks, either by asking for the meaning of some words or seeking more clarification, both for ideas and questions relating to the text. Concerning time needed to finish the task, it is observed from the recording and directly during the teaching sessions that the time students spend to do activities vary greatly from the SIOP method to the mainstream method, with the former having students answering in relatively short periods of time with limited instruction from the part of the teacher, while the activities in the mainstream took students more time to work out. Concluded from this is the fact that the SIOP method is so, useful in time saving. Concerning male and female differences, the statistics showed that in all activities, females got more correct and accepted answers than males. There are no obvious factors why this is the case, but this may be related to psychological or socioeconomic factors not known hitherto. Concerning the last finding, which is about the teacher's role, throughout the SIOP session, I kept instructing students to check the meaning of words in the posters, to make use of the pictures, to be reminded of both content and language objectives as they were clearly written on board, to help each other, and to act freely. All this made students more self-directed, self-monitoring, and extrinsically motivated. By contrast, the lack of aforementioned strategies during the mainstream session made students more teacher dependent and mostly reluctant to participate. And now we shall move to conclusion. As the SIOP model and its applications are relatively new, the benefit of this research will be enormous to those concerned with this field, especially if we consider the fact that the study was, not is, but was a pioneering, in the Moroccan context since it took place, in 2017. And now this approach is no longer new in the Moroccan context or Moroccan arena, research arena. 8 hours practice teaching 2 classes of sciences using SIOP and mainstream methods. The objective is to see, or was to see, difference between the 2 methods in promoting self-regulation in students. The hypothesis set for to be tested is students are more self-regulated in a SIOP-based classroom than in a mainstream-based one. The instruments used to collect data are participant observation, video recording, form filling, and peer observation. The setting of the study involves 2 sciences, or 2 classes of, Earth and life, sciences. Yes, with groups of 10 students each. Each group consists of 5 boys and 5 girls. Both of them received 8 hours of instruction, one using the SIOP model and the other using the mainstream methods. All the findings of the study validate the stated hypothesis, stressing that the SIOP method works effectively, not only in motivating students, but also in making them more creative. The SIOP method is proved to render students autonomous, and self-dependent, and able to control their learning as well as finishing the given tasks without the need for the teacher's help. The SIOP method also is so time-saving, as said earlier, in addition to the fact that the SIOP students are more self-directed, self-monitoring and extrinsically motivated, whereas these mainstream students are more teacher-dependent and, mostly reluctant, while participating, during the classes. And now, Hmad, this is a list for references for researchers who are eager to to conduct more research concerning both self-regulation and SIOP in Moroccan context. Thank you so much for your attention, and now the floor is yours, Hmad, for if there are questions. I am ready to share my knowledge concerning this approach of SIOP.
Thank you so much, Belal, for this rational and insightful presentation. There are several questions in the chat, and there are many comments that are related to your study. Mr. Mustafa or Mr. Hassan Lutfi hopes to read your study about Zagora. I think it will be better if you turned it into an article and you publish it. The whole study, I think that researchers will find several benefits within this study.
Inshallah, I am thinking of this. I will participate, inshallah, soon in a conference, with a paper encompassing, information and the data I collected from this study, Why not? If it's possible, I will, improve this, study, and why not making a comparative, study between applying the SIOP approach with this notion of self-regulation, between, for example, two cities like, Marrakesh and Zagora, and this comparative study will provide us with a clear use of this approach of the SIOP. If it's possible, Hmad, I would like to highlight something relating to the use of SIOP in Moroccan context. As you know, you are a teacher, and in our curriculum, we just depend upon or focus on teaching English language. The SIOP is relating to teaching content. This can be used, for example, in business schools, or in higher, institutions. But concerning high schools or middle schools, it is hard. Even for me, while conducting this research, I had to make so many efforts, to make, first of all, students be familiar with this approach. So many efforts were needed, for translation, for example, teaching students human reproduction, which is scientific. They are used to learn this using Arabic or French, with this international baccalaureate. But using English, it was challenging, That's it, Ahmed. Yes, for this question.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Bilal. This lecture is a compelling and well-structured study that presents a well-structured study that highlights the practical effectiveness of the sheltered instruction observation protocol model in enhancing self-regulated learning among students, mainly in the Moroccan context, specifically in Zagora. The findings show the SIOP-based classrooms foster greater independence, dynamism, and efficiency in task completion compared to the mainstream methods. Aligned with the global research on the SIOP success in multilingual settings, the gender-based insights you provided add a valuable dimension to the discussion, inventing further exploration into how pedagogical models interact with sociocultural factors. So, as you mentioned before, so if you made a study in a different context, in which, for example, in a very big city, or in a context where the students have got a huge, for example, knowledge related to the English language, the results may be different. As you said, it will be very useful to use this model with teaching English for special purposes, for tourism, for business, for these professions that needs special use of language. The study focuses on human reproduction as a topic. Also underscores this characteristics of teaching sensitive or complex content. The SIOP may help us to teach these kinds of content the study works or significantly contributes to the discourse of inclusive, student-centered education and offers actionable insights for educators in similar contexts. Well, thank you, Professor Amedyaz, for this compelling contribution. Let's move to the first question. You compared sheltered instruction observation protocol to mainstream teaching. Were there any unexpected challenges in ensuring a fair comparison between the two classrooms?
Yes, first of all, students know just the mainstream, classes, the mainstream classes which depend upon the complete presence, of the teacher, and limited inclusion, or participation of students, while with this protocol, which is SIOP, there is such an openness, and freedom for students to be included, in the construction and in making the lesson a successful one, and at the same time, there is a limited, presence or participation of the teacher, and the only task that the teacher can do with the SIOP approach is that he or she can be act as a facilitator, and concerning the materials used. Concerning the SIOP, in order to make the lesson a successful one, much or added or extra materials are needed. For example, a TV, data show, posters, more pictures, videos, and so on and so forth, while in the mainstream, as we used to do, we can just depend upon the whiteboard and students, books, and we can make between brackets the lesson a successful one, I think what is needed in order to make any approach, not just the SIOP, any approach which deals with languages, or especially English, is that our classrooms must be equipped with, extra materials so as to make, the lessons, as successful as we plan. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Amedyaz, for these ideas. I have a question, but it is addressed to the followers. To you, those educators who are following us now, have any of you experimented with sheltered instruction observation protocol or similar model? This question is addressed to the followers. What were your observations? If you tried this in your classrooms, you can write in the comments box your the observations that you noticed while implementing this model. Let's go back to the questions to Mr. Belal. The data showed girls outperformed boys in both sheltered instruction observation protocol and the mainstream classes. What factors do you think explain this disparity, and how might educators deal with it?
As I have mentioned this, Hmad, in my lecture, there are no fixed factors which, as a researcher, which can help me as a researcher to know why, students got, grades more than males, but there are, some, factors which can be, psychological. Even now, I am teaching English both in at the faculty of literacy in Mohammedia and the faculty of sciences in Rabat, and this is always the case. That girls, or males or females got, more,
Marks.
grades, yes, and results than males. This can be psychological, as I have mentioned. Females, do the tasks, and especially in high school, we can apply this. We cannot generalize this to university studies, but at least in middle and high school, they do what they are, asked to. There is also an eagerness. There is also an eagerness to learn more. I am seeing this, and I'm not generalizing. Those are, as I have mentioned already, this can be psychological. This can be in some cases it cannot be this. No.
There are
Yes.
also those cultural and socio economic factors. For example, if we get back to Zagura's conditions or contexts, the girls don't have several factors that disturb their learning, but while the boys have to go to work, have to do stuff outside the classroom, while the girls have only one work, which is education, learning, and studying.
Another factor, Hmad, is flexibility. Girls are more flexible than the boys. In addition to the last factor, which deals with organization, girls are more organized, even in their daily routines. Yes, as opposed to males, yes, who just do things in an unorganized way. Yes. Concerning the socioeconomic factors, as you have mentioned, dear Hmad, I can add this, that in more fixed situation, humans do their best. Starting from us, I used to teach in Zagora region, yes, and pursue my master studies in Marrakesh, and each year, each week I used to travel, about 720 kilometers a week, just to accomplish my studies. This can be the case for many students from this, not just from Zagora, but from the southeastern Morocco. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Bilal. Mr. Asim Youssef is wondering, how can the SIOP model be used in the Moroccan classroom?
First of all, we have to wait, for a new, policy, which incorporating the teaching of English content, not just the English language, as we are dealing with it now. Yes, we have to to wait for this policy, and then we can, yes, apply the SIOP model if we have, suitable and appropriate conditions, starting from, the students' books, books, dealing with, for example, teaching, for example, geography, history, science, mathematics, and all the stuff, not just English language, teaching English language. Yes, we can depend upon just, the methods that we have now, and we don't need, the SIOP approach. But I think in higher, studies and in business schools, yes, SIOP can be a pivotal approach and can lead to, yes, more appropriate results in teaching English content. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Bilal. The change started by generalizing English to the middle school, the 7th grade and the 8th grade, and they are using new books that are providing a different content and that are based on mainly on communication, and the content there is great. I think the change will continue, and we will see new content for high school. Then we can really implement this model. Mr. Haddawi said or is wondering: is there any difference between the SIOP model and the content and language learning model?
Content and language model and the SIOP model. The SIOP model is a model, based on teaching content, and while teaching content, the English language is taught implicitly, which means, yes, we mention, approaches or protocols. Yes, each protocol, as I have mentioned earlier, before the SIOP approach, so like in 1990s, there was other monolingual, approaches which came before it. Yes, and all those, approach, all those models, yes, have the same aim or the same objective, which is teaching content. What makes the SIOP approach, unique in its kind is that it depends upon teaching content in an easy way. Yes, especially for those whose first language or L1 is not English. This protocol started in the United States with, and it is, it is used to teach English content for, immigrant kids, especially those coming from Brazil and Asia, and especially in the elementary and primary schools. Yes, but as I have said earlier, I used this approach or this protocol with even with high school learners, and it gives, satisfying results. Yes.
Yes, indeed. Thank you, Mr. Bilal. I think it will be great to try it in English clubs within our schools. We may try different things within the clubs, and if we find that we get better achievements, we may transform this experiment to our classrooms. As you said, the the content and language learning is included within SIOP indeed, which may be used for in the academia or to teach in a high academic level. Mr. El Mustafa is wondering, are there any challenges to implement SIOP? He said, and Mr. And he said, how might professional development prepares or address these issues if there are any?
Yes, concerning implications relating to the SIOP approach, as I have mentioned, Hmad, we need, appropriate settings. First of all, we need appropriate settings. We need, classrooms which are equipped with, TVs, with data shows, with so many other things which can facilitate, the implementation of the SIOP approach. In order to use, the SIOP model appropriately, I think, and as Echevarria has, which is the pioneer of this protocol, we need, small number of students in each classroom, between 8 to 15, 16 students. And I think, as you know, and all the teachers know, this will be impossible in the Moroccan context. There exist classes. I worked in Marrakesh, between 2021, 2023, and in our classes, there exist classes including 54 students. 54 students each class. 54, students each class. Yes. And with this 54, you are, asked to deliver a lesson in about 50 minutes. It's impossible. Yes, it's very impossible, Yes, as I have mentioned, with this international baccalaureate, yes, if the ministry, yes, wants to, to improve, the presence of English language in the Moroccan context, yes, they can, make, the classes with just, let's say 20 students each. And I think I have been working since 2011, 2011, and while in Zagora, the number was between 30 to 40. Now, 44, 45, 46. Yes, it's even hard to think about the success of this method, or even the the inclusion of this method or approach in Moroccan context with this aforementioned indicators.
Yes, indeed. We hope to see a change in the context in which we are teaching English for the future. Thank you for this, the insights you shared with us tonight. As we bring this enlightening session to close, I would like to extend our sincere appreciation to our distinguished speaker, Mr. Belal Amedyaz, for his comprehensive presentation on the sheltered instruction observation protocol model and its impact on students' self-regulation in Moroccan classrooms. The lecture has provided us with valuable insights into effective pedagogical strategies for multilingual learners who speak Arabic, English, and Tamazight. So and has certainly given us much for thought regarding educational innovation. We are particularly grateful for the compelling evidence demonstrating how SIOP-based instruction fosters greater student independence, engagement, and efficiency in learning. The model might provide students with extra motivations and or instrumental motivations. A special word of thanks to all participants and followers who were commenting in the live chat, Mr. Al-Farhawi, Kamal, Mr. Mustafa, Mr. Haddawi, and all those who have participated with us today. Certificates of attendance will be distributed. The link was shared with you. You will find it above, Mr. Abdullah. And we encourage you to continue this improvement conversation beyond today's lecture. Mr. Bilal, what do you think about the future research related to this model?
Thank you so much, Hmad. And through you, I would like to thank Bitlisaniyat Academy for giving us this opportunity to share with researchers and teachers the findings that we get from our studies, not just the SIOP, but is in applied linguistics as a whole. I used to conduct this study, as I have mentioned, between 2017 and 2018, and there were colleagues who take the task of studying or investigating the impact of SIOP, for example, in linguistic inferences, as I remember now, in linguistic with the impact of this approach of SIOP on linguistic inferences and other topics. Now I know that Mr. Amros Nordin is supervising a research on this topic. We can, if we want to improve, research, lectures like this are a must, not just needed, but are a must in order to make, researchers interchange information concerning not just SIOP, but any other approaches. Inshallah, for me, I will try my best to produce, an article, inshallah, depending upon this, but in a comparative study, inshallah. Research, is needed, but what is needed most is that if we have supervisors, yes, who are familiar with protocols like this, I am sure that there exist in this lecture a number of teachers who just hear this notion of SIOP for the first time. There exist a lot of protocols or approaches for teaching content, but there exist others which are not known by by teachers and researchers as a whole. Thank you, Hmad, for giving us the floor for exchanging information, not just on SIOP but on other topics. It's really kind of you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Hmad.
You are welcome. You are always welcome to share the scientific results and the scientific articles that you produces. This academy is open to all researchers and scientists who want to share knowledge, and I think it's our duty to share knowledge with others, and it is here we open the floor for all researchers who want to participate. Just try to contact us, and we will discuss how you can deliver a lecture or participate with us in our new upcoming conferences or seminars. On behalf of Bitlisaniyat Academy, thank you, Mr. Amedyaz, Belal, for this insightful rational lecture. Thank you all for joining us this evening. Have a nice night.
Thank you so much, Hmad. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Belal.
Belal.